in your city or town where you like to go in your free time?
Yeah, okay. In 10th Ramadan City, I enjoy going to the nearest club where I can spend my leisure time there near the pool. Um, Also, but here, also,
Sumaya, I believe you need to speak louder.
yeah, my voice now is obvious for you.
Yes,
Can you
it's
hear me?
enough. Yes, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. I like to go to the nearest club where I'm living. It's almost 5 minutes walking, so I enjoy their walking along the track or sitting beside the pool and so on. But there is not much to do in 10th Ramadan City. So if I
Okay,
have
why do you like to go there?
yeah, because I think it's a large place. It's called the Ruad Club. So it has it's an organized place and has a variety to do walking or even swimming, practicing swimming or giving sorry, playing with my child there at the at the kids area. So.
Yeah. Is there anything you don't like about this place?
Yeah, sometimes it becomes very crowding, especially along the summer. So I can't go alone there, particularly when we have been through this kidnaps for, I think, 2 years ago. It was a trial. My friend son was almost kidnapped by someone we don't know who. So since that, I don't like to go there in summer. The summer
So, is
period.
there a particular place for people in your city? Sorry, is it a popular place for you in your
Yeah,
city? Yes.
yeah, yeah. It's the most popular place there because it was the only club that opened in 10th of Ramadan City since I think the city was built. But now we have another club. It's called Prosia, I think. So, but Ruad is most popular there.
All right. Now we'll move to part two or section two in your speaking test. Are you ready?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, you will be given a minute to prepare your answer, and then you will need to speak for 2 continuous minutes. Would you please look at the board? Describe a hobby you enjoy doing. You should say what the hobby is. Number two, what are some things you do on the internet? Number three, do you prefer shopping online or real stores and why? 1 minute starting from now.
Okay. Thank you.
Sorry. Time up. Now you may start.
Okay. Well, I have a lot of hobbies and things that I can enjoy doing in my leisure time. but the most favorable thing that I like is reading novels, especially romantic ones. And I have my all favorite time, which is it's called it's about an British girl who suffered a lot at the early at the end of her life, and sorry. Okay, so it's my favorite novel, but I can, but I also prefer to read scientific books or anything that related to my job, and I enjoy also surfing the internet for something related to my career to improve myself since I'm working as a dentist. So I surf it for the latest techniques or videos that related to my to improve my skills and enhance it. Also, since I'm planning to immigrate, I've been through many Ielts blogs and videos that I enjoyed from the internet. And I've made a lot of purchases from the internet and the latest one was on my child's birthday. It was almost a year ago, and I couldn't go out. So while I was searching for a present for him, an ads captured my sight immediately. It was about a toy that an elephant from the Ice Age movie. I ordered it, and it was quite a worry for me because I didn't do it before purchasing online, but almost 4 days ago, 4 days after, sorry, 4 days after, the delivery was on time, and it was a remarkable gift for my son. He enjoyed it. And it was also a greeting card for his birthday. And however, I'm not a person who like making a lot of purchasing from.
Thank you very much, Sumaya. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Now, well, your estimated score band is around 7, and you're doing great. I liked your presentation very much, by the way. Okay, now let's talk about some things you do in order to boost and improve your band score, if you wish to improve it. If you're seeking something which is far beyond the band score 7. Number 1, some few mistakes in the pronunciation, very few mistakes, unnoticeable mistakes. All right, for the grammar, again, some very few mistakes were spotted, only few mistakes, not so many, so that you can manage. And sometimes you stop yourself to correct yourself once more, which is really good because you spot your mistakes. You can easily spot your mistakes and come back to your mind and correct them. For the lexical resource, and I believe that this is what took your score a little bit lower than it should be. Your score needs a higher range of vocabulary because most of the sentences that you spoken or that you made were just made up of some very few, made up of simple vocabulary. Most of the vocabulary used was a very simple vocabulary. That's why I ask you, please, to use a higher range of vocabulary, and this will boost up your score. For the coherence and cohesion, you did very well too. Thank you very much for your participation, Sumaya. And again, you don't need to practice. All you have to do is to practice a little bit more. Not too much of a practice, but some few practice for a short time or a short while before you take your IELTS test. You're already there. Thank you very much for your participation. And
thank you.
Ayman, you're very much welcome. Sumaya, thank you for your participation in taking mock exam. Let's take Ayman. Chris, are you there?
I'm here.
All right, so Ayman would like to take the next turn. Sure, Ayman, you can.
You ready, Ayman?
Yeah, thank you very much. But before we start, I would first like to thank you both for making this on Zoom based on my request. Don't know how much really appreciate this. Second, I have a quick question, Chris, for you before we start. Coming across the questions for the speaking, I saw a question that says, describe the house that you live in. Is it okay to start the answer by saying, actually, I don't live in a house, I live in an apartment, and start describing the apartment? Or should I imagine that I live in a house and start answering the question?
No. Tell them that you live in an apartment and describe your apartment. It's always easier to speak about something that's real instead of trying to make it up in your imagination and talk about it. And so, though the answer is, you get no score for the content of the answer, really, it's easier to talk about a real thing. So,
will that lower my score by any means?
no, not at all.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
you get no punishment for not living in a house.
Okay.
And again, Ayman, remember that this test is not, they are not testing your reliability. They're just testing your language. They want to see how good your language is. So don't panic if you were asked about something you have no experience about. Okay? But again, as Chris says, it's better if you talk about something you've already experienced. It will be easier for you instead of making things up.
Okay, thank you.
Chris,
Thank
please
you.
notice that we'll have a lesson at 7:30. All right? So we don't have much time. Okay.
Okay, so this is the speaking test for the Ielts Idle Canadian Mosaic English Language School Training System, conducted on the 1st of December 2017 on Zoom. The candidate is Ayman Hani and the examiner is Chris Enders. Good evening. My name is Chris Enders. Can you tell me your full name, please?
Good evening, Chris. My name is Ayman Muhammad Hani.
And what can I call you?
You can just call me Ayman.
And can you tell me where you're from, Ayman?
Well, I'm from Egypt, which is an Arabian country in Africa.
And now in this first part, Ayman, let's talk about what you do. Do you work or are you a student?
Well, I work, basically I have a bachelor degree of mechanical engineering, then I have another certificate of project management. So I work as a project manager in a company. I'm specialized in building water treatment plants.
And what do you think is the most difficult part of your job?
Well, my job is a bit different than any other engineering job because it involves communication with everybody inside and outside the company. So having this strong personality to manage problems which you don't have full influence of and manage external factors, I think is a bit challenging because you get to challenge time, cash flow, money, scheduling, deadlines. I think it's very challenging.
Do you see yourself doing this job for many years into the future?
Well, I would really love to have my private business, and I may see myself having my own company in a matter of like 5 or 6 years. As any other engineers, I'm having plans for opening my private business. So I see I would do this for the next 5 or 6 years. Then I'm planning to have my own business.
Let's talk about living in a city. What are some good things about living in a big city?
Well, in my opinion, the best thing in living in a city is having a full service, a good health service, a good education service, and is being in the same place where you can find all the governmental offices in case you need to do any governmental service. But on the other hand, however, I believe living in the city is very crowded.
And so, what are some disadvantages of living in a city?
I believe living in the city, one of the most disadvantages that I really hate is having a heavy traffic. Can you believe that it takes me more than 1 hour to reach work? And in Egypt, it used to take me more than 90 minutes to go to work and come back from work. That means that I have to spend like quarter of my day just going and coming back from work. So I believe traffic is a horrible thing when speaking about living in a city.
So let's go on to talk about computers. Are you good at using computers?
Yes, being an engineer, I am not only using normal programs, but also I have to use some specific programs related to my work field, like scheduling programs and cash flow forecasting and monitoring programs. So I think I'm good to a big extent in using computers. I am forced to because I'm an engineer, not that it's a choice.
Is it good to take a training course to learn how to use a computer properly, or can people figure it out on their own?
Oh, I think you have to. I think technology changes day by day, and there are new programs every day. And it's difficult to learn everything on your own, just reading from the manual. So I think, yes, you have to. It's not a choice anymore. You have to be always updated to the new technology. You have always to be trained to the new programs which comes out every day in the market. So I think, yes, I think it's a must.
All right. Now, I'm going to give you a question, and I'd like you to speak about it for a full 2 minutes. Before you talk, you have 1 minute to make a plan. And here's your question. Talk about a day trip that you took. You should say where you went, who you went with, and what you liked or disliked about this trip. Can you begin your planning now, please? All right, so remember, you've got a full 2 minutes for this. Can you begin speaking now, please?
So let me tell you about one of my favorite days in my life. Now, I came from Egypt, where we celebrate the beginning of the spring season every year. In this celebration, we go out to picnics, have barbecue parties, where we really enjoy the nice and beautiful weather. So we used to have a habit of going to a picnic at every beginning of every spring with my family. So I still remember this very special trip I did when I was 12 years old. I went to a garden in a town where my grandfather came from to celebrate the day. So I went with my father, my mother, my brothers, and all other family members. When I speak about the family members, I mean the big scale, my cousins, my aunties, my uncles, their wives, their husbands, everybody. So we went there at 6 o'clock a.m. at the very beginning of the day. It was the very first sunlight. First, when we reached there, we had our breakfast, which was usually colored eggs, where we prepare and color at home the day before, and some other Egyptian traditional food. Then after having our breakfast, I went to play football with my cousins. At that age, being a kid, we were very fond of playing football, and it was really challenging and really interesting to spend the day playing football with my cousins and other friends. After playing football, we started preparing for our barbecue party, which was the favorite part of the day, because you don't only enjoy eating the barbecue, but you enjoy making it, because I believe it's more enjoyable to eat something that you participated in making, which we used to do. All the family members used to gather together and start making the barbecue. Although we were very young at this age, and we could mess up things, but
So we've been talking about a day trip that you took, and I'd like to continue talking about trips. So let's think of, first of all, travel companions. Who are some people, or what makes someone a good travel companion?
Well, it takes a lot to choose a good travel companion. In my language, we say the travel companion is more important than the trip itself, which I totally agree with. You have to have a travel companion who's able to hold a conversation, who is having a good sense of humor that will keep you amused all the trip, who would help you whenever you need help, not only depend on you and doing everything. So I believe choosing a good travel companion is very important. It's more important than the trip itself, as a matter of fact.
And so, is it difficult to travel places with children?
Yes, it's very difficult. It's a nightmare. It's one of my nightmares to travel with my children and my family to somewhere, because I have to stop every 20 or 30 minutes either to go to the bathroom, or somebody is hungry, or somebody wants to buy something, or somebody finds out that he goes to the bathroom just after 20 minutes from the last stop because he forgot to go to the bathroom. So I believe traveling with children is a nightmare.
Uh-huh. And so when you're traveling, what are some good places that when you must stop, that you can stop at? Some facilities and things that you can meet on the side of the road?
Well, I'm a coffee addicted, Chris. Coffee is one of the basic things in my life. Before I leave home, I have to have at least one coffee and one tea. So coffee is very essential thing for me. Now I'm talking to you, I'm having two cups in front of me, not only one. One of them is filled of tea and one of them is half filled of coffee. So before planning a trip, I have to plan where can I have a good coffee, and where to stop, and how many times I'll stop to have the coffee. Not to mention that I take my own coffee before even starting my trip. So coffee is more important than petrol for the car for me when speaking about traveling.
Your perfect travel companion.
Yeah.
And so, what about technology? Has technology made it easier to travel places these days?
I think yes. Today you have a GPS navigator in each mobile phone, which helps you to find the way. Nowadays, you don't have to worry about where to go and how to go and whether or not you will find out your road or miss your road or take a wrong exit. I believe having the GPS with you and having a charger to the mobile make traveling much easier. You know, I work in Saudi Arabia. I travel once a week to different cities which I haven't seen before. Nowadays, I don't have any problem with traveling anywhere because I just go there, turn on my GPS, start the location, follow the location till I reach there. So I think new mobile phone and smartphone, which introduced the GPS technology to us, has made the traveling not only much easier, but also more interesting.
And what about modern automobiles? Is it comfortable to travel these days as compared to in the past?
I believe yes. Now having a automatic gearbox, not a manual one, which we used to have 20 or 30 years back. Anyone who learned driving more than 10 years back would know what I'm talking about, would know what the manual gearbox means. So I believe having GPS in the car itself, different than the one I just mentioned in the mobile, having an air-conditioned car where you don't feel the hot weather, or you don't suffer from having a hot weather around. I believe all these facilities made traveling much more easier and much more interesting as well.
All right. Thank you very much. That's the end of your speaking test.
Thank you, Chris.
Man, that was the best speaking test I've ever heard. Even when I was an Ielts examiner, I never heard anything like that.